Hey everyone, welcome to Tesla Shorts Time Daily, episode 438. It's April 16th, 2026, and I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Here's what you need to know about Tesla today. Let's start with a striking video that's been making the rounds online. A Tesla owner's Sentry camera caught the tense moment when the occupants of a Mercedes-Benz electric SUV jumped out and ran just seconds before their vehicle erupted in flames. The footage is raw and dramatic. You see the doors fly open, people sprinting away, and then the fire takes hold. What makes it especially notable is that it wasn't a Tesla on fire, yet the only reason we have such clear documentation is because of a Tesla parked nearby that was quietly recording the whole time. This incident shines a light on how differently electric vehicle safety events get captured and discussed depending on the brand. Tesla vehicles, with their always-on camera systems, create this constant stream of real-world evidence that other manufacturers simply don't match. It's a double-edged sword for the industry. On one hand, it gives Tesla owners an incredible tool for personal security and insurance claims. On the other, it means Tesla-branded footage often becomes the public record for incidents that involve other cars entirely. My take is that this reinforces just how foundational the camera hardware has become in Tesla's ecosystem. It's not just about full self-driving or parking lot security anymore. These systems are turning into a de facto black box for the entire EV space, whether competitors like it or not. And while thermal events can happen to any high-energy battery pack, the visibility gap is becoming obvious. Tesla's approach gives owners and the broader public something close to objective truth in moments that used to rely on eyewitness accounts or grainy security footage. That dramatic clip ties directly into the bigger picture of where Tesla stands in the global EV race right now. The company held on to the top spot in worldwide electric vehicle deliveries for the first quarter of 2026. Even with increasing competition from all sides, Tesla's volume advantage remains intact. It's worth remembering that this isn't just about selling more cars than anyone else in a given 3 months. It's about the cumulative experience Tesla has built in scaling production, managing supply chains, and iterating on manufacturing processes over more than a decade. At the same time, Chinese researchers are making steady, incremental progress on solid-state battery technology. These labs have been publishing promising results on higher energy density cells that could, in theory, deliver longer range and smaller, lighter packages while improving safety margins. The promise has been around for years, and we're still not at the point where solid-state batteries are rolling out of gigafactories at scale. But the trajectory is clear. If those technical hurdles around manufacturing consistency, cost, and cycle life get solved, it could reshape the cost and performance equation for the entire industry. For now, though, Tesla's current leadership rests on its ability to scale proven lithium-ion production and its very real software advantages. The combination of manufacturing maturity and the ability to push over-the-air updates keeps the company ahead on volume. This matters because it shows how hardware maturity and deep software integration still outweigh laboratory breakthroughs when it comes to real-world impact. You can have the most advanced cell chemistry in a clean room, but if you can't produce it reliably at millions of units per year, it doesn't move the needle for customers or for the business. Tesla's edge isn't flashy in every quarterly headline, but it's grounded in systems that actually deliver cars people can buy and drive today. That balance between current strengths and future leaps brings us naturally to some important silicon news. Tesla has reached a key development milestone with its next-generation AI-5 chip. This isn't just another incremental upgrade. The chip is aimed squarely at powering the Optimus robot fleet and feeding the enormous compute demands of Tesla's expanding supercomputer clusters. Getting the manufacturing process right at this advanced node is no small feat. It still depends on close, trust-based collaboration with foundry partners like Samsung, who are pushing the boundaries of what's possible in high-volume semiconductor production. The milestone is meaningful on multiple levels. It boosts confidence in Samsung's own semiconductor roadmap, while giving Tesla a clearer, more predictable path to scale both its robotics ambitions and its training infrastructure. What stands out to me is how deliberately Tesla is allocating its most advanced silicon across different product lines rather than putting all its eggs in one basket. Instead of chasing a single moonshot, they're thinking in terms of an ecosystem where AI-5 serves both the physical world through Optimus and the digital world through massive inference clusters. This focused, almost surgical approach could accelerate progress in the areas that matter most for Tesla's long-term growth. It also reflects a level of systems thinking that's still rare in the auto industry. Most legacy car companies are still struggling to integrate basic electronics updates, while Tesla is already carving up next-generation silicon between humanoid robots and autonomous driving stacks. That kind of strategic clarity feels like a quiet but significant competitive advantage. Speaking of hardware that powers the future, Tesla just gave owners a new reason to actually use full self-driving every single day. The company has introduced a feature called FSD Streaks that quietly tracks how many consecutive days you engage with the system. It adds light game-like incentives, little nudges that reward consistency without being obnoxious about it. On the surface, it feels like a small behavioral tweak, but the implications run deeper. More consistent use should translate into significantly more real-world miles, and those miles remain critical fuel for improving the neural networks. Every engaged drive generates labeled data that can be fed back into training loops. At the same time, I think it's fair to raise legitimate questions about whether safety-critical software should lean on behavioral nudges and gamification. There's a delicate balance here. More data clearly speeds up development, but drivers still need to stay responsible, alert, and ready to take over even when the system is performing well. I see both sides pretty clearly. The feature feels like smart product design, but it shouldn't ever replace the fundamental expectation that autonomy is still supervised. That extra stream of consistent full self-driving data could become even more valuable thanks to another quiet but genuinely useful update in the Tesla mobile app. The latest version now automatically embeds rich metadata whenever you download Sentry Mode or dashcam clips. Things like vehicle speed, steering wheel angle, pedal inputs, and whether full self-driving was engaged at the time are all baked right into the file. No more hunting through logs or trying to remember context after the fact. This small change makes it substantially easier for owners to keep accurate personal records or share properly contextualized footage with insurance companies, police, or even other drivers involved in an incident. It further strengthens the everyday usefulness of Tesla's always-on camera system, turning what used to be a security feature into a comprehensive documentation tool for protection, claims, and even just personal peace of mind. From a pure product experience standpoint, these kinds of thoughtful, low-key improvements are exactly what keep the Tesla ownership experience feeling a step ahead of everything else on the road. And of course, those same cameras were responsible for capturing the Mercedes fire we started with. The footage has spread widely because it's dramatic, but also because it highlights how EV incidents are documented and perceived differently depending on who made the vehicle. For Tesla, it quietly reinforces the dual value of its camera systems as both personal safety tools for owners and rich, time-stamped data sources that can benefit the broader industry. It's a reminder that while battery thermal events can happen across manufacturers, the always recording nature of Tesla vehicles provides a level of transparency that's still unique. While one legacy electric model is effectively exiting the stage, Tesla continues to fight older battles on the sales side. BMW has confirmed it will stop selling the iX electric SUV in the United States after the 2026 model year. The company is shifting its focus toward its newer Neue Klasse platform, starting with the smaller iX3 that's expected to arrive later. This decision feels like a pragmatic pruning of early-generation electric models that simply haven't hit the volume or cost targets the company needs. It leaves a bit more breathing room in the premium SUV segment for Tesla's refreshed Model S and Model X, at least in the short term. The move also underscores how challenging it remains for traditional manufacturers to sustain multiple distinct electric platforms at true scale. Developing one competitive EV architecture is hard enough. Trying to keep several generations alive while investing in the next one stretches resources thin. Tesla's decision years ago to focus on a unified platform approach, even as it evolves the cells and the software on top of it, looks even smarter in that light. Tesla's own premium Halo cars are creating a different kind of friction at the moment. The company is imposing significant financial penalties on buyers who flip certain limited edition Model S and Model X vehicles shortly after taking delivery. Reports suggest these fines can climb into the tens of thousands of dollars. The policy is clearly designed to protect allocation fairness and maintain the exclusive positioning of these high-end models. In an environment where demand for the plaid versions and special editions far outstrips supply, Tesla doesn't want speculators treating cars like short-term investments. That said, the approach does raise real questions about balancing demand control with basic customer freedom. What happens if someone's life circumstances change unexpectedly? A new job, a move, a family situation, shortly after they finally get their dream car. From a pure business standpoint, the intent makes sense. Tesla wants these halo vehicles in the hands of genuine enthusiasts, not flippers driving up secondary market prices. But the execution risks creating unnecessary tension and bad feelings among buyers who feel they're being punished for circumstances beyond their control. It's a tough line to walk, and I suspect we'll see how it plays out over the next few quarters. That tension between control and customer goodwill actually leads into something deeper about how Tesla is weaving its various products together. A lot of people still look at Tesla Insurance, full self-driving, and the Dojo compute efforts as somewhat separate side businesses. In reality, they're forming a single tightening feedback loop that gets more powerful with every mile driven. Every insured full self-driving mile generates both direct revenue and precisely labeled training data. That data improves the software, which in turn reduces claims, tightens the risk model, and ultimately lowers insurance rates for safe drivers. By owning the entire stack, from the cameras to the inference engines, the training clusters, the actuarial tables, and the final pricing, Tesla removes multiple layers of intermediaries that traditional automakers and insurers have to deal with. Competitors can't easily copy this because it requires end-to-end control over the entire critical data path. From first principles, you simply cannot optimize what you do not fully control. That integrated approach is quietly becoming one of Tesla's hardest advantages to replicate, and it compounds with scale in a way that's difficult to overstate. This integrated philosophy is exactly why a veteran like Doug Field's recent departure from Ford feels so telling. Field played a major role in ramping the Model 3 production hell at Tesla, then went on to lead Apple's secretive car project before landing at Ford as head of electric vehicles and technology. He's now left that role amid a broader reorganization at the company. The move highlights the ongoing talent churn inside traditional manufacturers that are still trying to figure out what software-defined vehicles actually mean in practice. Field's experience across Tesla, Apple, and Ford gives him an unusually clear perspective on just how difficult the cultural and execution gap remains for legacy automakers. When your background includes shipping hundreds of thousands of cars with continuous software updates, and then you land inside a company that still measures success in model year cycles, the mismatch can be jarring. Moves like this often signal deeper challenges around retaining top technical talent when speed, decision-making freedom, and engineering culture differ so sharply between the old guard and the new. Talent movement is one thing, but regulatory positioning remains another persistent battleground. Tesla is currently telling regulators in North Dakota that the company should be classified as a distributor rather than a traditional manufacturer. This is part of its long-running fight against franchise dealer laws that still exist in various forms across many U.S. states. The direct sales model isn't just a preference for Tesla, it remains core to the company's ability to deliver rapid software updates, control pricing strategy, and maintain a consistent customer experience from configuration to delivery to service. Winning this particular classification battle would allow Tesla to sell vehicles directly to consumers in North Dakota without having to work through independent dealers. These regulatory fights don't always generate the same excitement as new hardware announcements, but they shape the business environment in fundamental ways. Sometimes the biggest constraints on Tesla's growth aren't technical at all. They're legal and structural, and the company continues to chip away at them state by state. While fighting those battles in some markets, Tesla is also using its own insurance product to sweeten the deal in others. Buyers who either subscribe to or purchase full self-driving can now unlock meaningful discounts on Tesla insurance in eligible regions. This strategy closes another loop by combining real driving behavior data with insurance pricing in a way that traditional insurers simply cannot match. It has the potential to accelerate data collection while simultaneously rewarding drivers who demonstrate consistently safer behavior behind the wheel. The mutual reinforcement here is elegant. Better software leads to safer driving, which leads to fewer claims, which leads to better insurance rates, which encourages more people to use the software. It's the same integrated thinking we see across so many parts of the business, and it's the kind of flywheel that becomes more powerful the longer it spins. All of this circles back in a way to how valuable even the earliest Teslas remain more than a decade later. One enthusiast recently picked up a 2013 Model S at what sounds like an exceptionally low price on the used market. He's been posting about how he still gets compliments on the car almost everywhere he goes. People are drawn to the distinctive shape, the quiet ride, and the sense of history the car carries. The story nicely illustrates the durable appeal and surprisingly strong residual value that even the very first Teslas still command in certain circles. It's genuinely encouraging to see vehicles from more than 10 years ago still turning heads and delivering satisfying ownership experiences. That kind of longevity speaks to some of the fundamental engineering choices made right at the beginning, choices around the large central touchscreen, the over-the-air update capability, and the focus on a minimalist interior that has aged better than many expected. Not every decision from that era was perfect, but the core bet on software and a clean user interface has held up remarkably well. Now for a couple of other developments that are generating conversation across the owner community. Many people are getting their first real look at Grok-powered reminders integrated into the latest software update. Instead of the usual rigid voice commands, the system now lets you set location-based or time-based reminders in a much more natural conversational way. Early feedback suggests it makes the in-cabin experience feel noticeably smarter for everyday tasks, like remembering to pick up groceries when you're near the store or setting a reminder to call someone when you get home. It's a small step, but it feels like a meaningful one toward making the car's artificial intelligence genuinely useful in daily life rather than just a novelty. These kinds of refinements matter because they slowly shift the perception of what a car's computer can actually do for you beyond driving. Separately, Tesla has opened the submission portal for shareholder questions ahead of next week's earnings call. This process almost always surfaces detailed, sometimes pointed inquiries on everything from robo-taxi timelines to energy storage margins to capital allocation discipline. Given the recent movement in the stock and the intense focus on autonomy, I'd expect plenty of questions around full self-driving adoption metrics and how the company is thinking about balancing near-term spending with long-term bets on Optimus and compute. Elon Musk also took time to clarify that the AI-5 hardware is aimed squarely at Optimus robots and the largest supercomputer clusters, while suggesting that the current AI-4 generation should be more than sufficient to reach better than human safety levels for full self-driving. That distinction is helpful. It helps explain the chip development roadmap more clearly and reassures some observers that full self-driving progress isn't entirely dependent on the next silicon node arriving on schedule. Once again, it shows that thoughtful, product-specific allocation of advanced compute rather than a one-size-fits-all mentality. Before we wrap up, it's worth noting that the limited edition vehicle policy we discussed earlier continues to spark debate. Tesla appears to be betting that protecting allocation integrity and long-term brand discipline in the highest end of the market matters more than avoiding short-term friction with a small number of buyers. The real test will be whether the policy mainly deters pure speculators, or whether it ends up discouraging genuine enthusiasts who simply have a change of heart or circumstances. These are the kinds of customer experience details that don't always show up in quarterly numbers but can shape perception over time. Keep an eye on next week's earnings call. The questions submitted this week could reveal fresh details on full self-driving adoption curves, capital priorities, and how the various business loops we've been talking about are performing in practice. That's your Tesla news for today. TSLA closed at $391.95, down $1.62, or 0.4%. If you found this useful, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. You can also find us on X at Tesla Shorts Time. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. A478. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.